Decisions. You make them every day. Some big, some small. But some decisions matter more than others. Some decisions impact thousands, even millions of lives. Real families, real communities. In those kinds of decisions, the complex ones that matter most, those are the ones you've got to get right. That's where Gurobi comes in. With Gurobi's decision intelligence technology, you input details about your complex business challenge, and Gurobi's AI outputs a detailed action plan. It's how the world's leading global organizations make fast, confident, unbiased business decisions every day, even amid rapid change and global disruption. Gurobi customers power the world while minimizing environmental impact, get people where they want to go as efficiently as possible, maximize investor returns while minimizing risk, deliver the right products into the right hands at the right cost, and create the most exhilarating events while reaching the broadest audience. With Gurobi, you too can tackle your most complex business challenges with confidence. Better decision-making starts here. Gurobi, the leader in decision intelligence technology.
All right. Hello, good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. How's everyone feeling? Feeling optimal? Yes? Everyone's feeling optimal? Well, even if you're feeling suboptimal, don't worry. Life is just a non-convex problem, and sometimes it takes few iterations to reach global happiness. So, thank you, ChatGPT, for that, and the inspiration from Robert Lewis. And how was my delivery? Suboptimal? All right, okay, thank you. By the way, that video you just watched, that's not about us, that's about you. Certainly all the great work that you're doing, that makes us so much better. Your feedback, your work, and so forth. So we just are happy to showcase all the things that you're doing out there. I just wanted to, on behalf of the team here, as Kurt mentioned, I wanted to welcome everyone to the Decision Intelligence Summit. This is actually our third event in the series here in EMEA. We just had one in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, and we also had a big crowd as well. The crowds have been growing with each successive event, and so thanks to you and your participation and your engagement. So we're very excited about these programs. My name is Michael Wooh, and as Kurt mentioned, I'm responsible for marketing, so certainly if you have any stories and case studies over the next few days, I'd be very, very happy to talk to you about those. We know that it's the end of the year, and you have busy schedules and commitments, so once again, we thank you for, as in the previous video, for making the decision to be here with us these next few days. That's very important to us. Quick question. How many of you have attended a previous Gurobi event? Okay, great. Excellent. Well, for those of you that are returning, thank you for joining us again. Great to see you. And for those of the new people, we hope you find this very informative and interesting. Okay? Just a fun fact, Gurobi has actually, I think by the end of this year, we will probably have been in 100 events. Those are hosted events as well as events that we're participating in. So we have quite a lot of events. And just so you know, we have three types of events at Gurobi. We have the Gurobi Connect events that are the more smaller, intimate groups. Then we have the Gurobi Days events, and then we have the Summit events. So just so you are aware of the different types of events that we have. So we have a very exciting agenda, very packed, a great lineup of speakers, as Kurt had mentioned. But given that the agenda is packed with business and technical content, I thought I would do something different and really talk about Gurobi the company. Many of you know this, probably know the answer to this question, but how many of you know the etymology of the name Gurobi, where that comes from? I figured some of you would know that question. Well, basically, the name Gurobi is actually a concatenation of the names of our three founders. So Dr. Junghao Gu is the Gu in Gurobi, Dr. Ed Rothberg is the Ro in Gurobi, and Dr. Robert Bixby is the B in Gurobi, right? And as Kurt mentioned, we are fortunate to have Ed here, so once again, please take the opportunity to chat with Ed. He's one of the sharpest minds in computational math programming and certainly a pioneer in the industry. So what I'd like to do now is to tell you a little story about Gurobi, specifically what makes us tick. Okay, this is probably something that most people don't know. when we talk about this, let's talk about our vision for the company, right? And we can break that vision up into two facets, right? The first facet is our purpose, and the second facet is our goal. The first facet, in terms of our corporate purpose, is what gets us excited to come to work in the morning. What drives us? What motivates us? And in terms of the second facet, our corporate goal, where are we trying to get to? What is the destination, right? So let's talk about the purpose first. Well, our purpose is actually quite simple. It's to make the world a better place, right? It sounds simple, but it's also very complex, right, and very daunting. And how did we come to this purpose? Well, we queried all of our team members in the company, and we asked them, what is the single motivational driver for you to really pushes you on, right, that makes you want to excel, to go above and beyond? And without a doubt, everyone said to make a positive impact in the world, right? So this is our why. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek? Okay, Simon Sinek is a very well-known marketer that basically talks about the why of every company, that every company should have that why, right? That motivational reason, and so forth. And this is what makes us excited to do the company's work. And basically, we can make that connection between optimization and making the world a better place because of the power of optimization, right? It can make a significant impact on the quality of life for every single person. And I know that I don't need to tell you that because you're doing that on a daily basis. So let's now talk about our long-term goal. Okay, so our long-term goal is basically Gurobi everywhere. Now, what does that mean? It started out as the idea of the democratization of optimization, right? Trying to build awareness, trying to get optimization in the hands of everyone, right? And I know that sounds very high level and very aspirational. So the idea here is that every NGO, every institution, every charity, every school system, whether it's a small, medium, large-sized business, whether it's an enterprise, would have access to optimization, right? Now, we all know there's still a massive barrier here where, for example, only people like yourself in this room typically have the ability to use optimization. But, we want to try to figure out ways how we can make it more accessible, right? There's no doubt that the experts will always be needed because this is far too complex. But the question is, how do we lower that barrier and increase the accessibility of optimization? So we can make that bold statement about making the world a better place because of the power of optimization. As we know, it's such a powerful technology that's been around for a long time. But it's one of the few classes of analytics with very strong, very tangible results, and it can make a difference in people's lives, and I know that all of you know that. It's provable, it's quantifiable, and it makes a tremendous impact. And when I think of big impact, at least from a monetary standpoint, an example that comes to mind is in the US we have the FCC, which is the Federal Communications Commission. And they were one of the Edelman Prize winners. And basically they ran an auction regarding bandwidth and frequency to broadcast providers, and they generated $20 billion because of optimization. And $7.3 billion of that went to the US Treasury, which ultimately had a positive impact on US taxpayers. So that's just an example of how optimization can be tremendously beneficial. But let's hear from some of our Gurobi team members on how optimization can make the world a better place.
The employee base came up with this really powerful purpose that is making the world a better place, one optimal decision at a time. Reducing the use of timber for paper production, or reducing the use of fresh water so that you're saving more of that. That purpose resonates not only with the employee base, but also with our customers. We created Gurobi Gives Back as a way to help facilitate the use of optimization. A charitable organization could come to Gurobi and say, hey, we don't have a big budget. We'll give them that license. We'll also give them free consulting. If that's our corporate purpose, we have to put our money where our mouth is to help give them the ability to make a better decision that could save lives. That's really powerful.
So we need to become carbon free by a certain date. So what are these companies now facing? It's called a trilemma. The trilemma basically says you need to supply your energy affordable, sustainable, and secure. Optimization is perfectly suited for this multiple objectives.
With Gurobi, it's really about proving that you can't make a better decision. Business leaders that are using things like machine learning, there's no way that they can prove how good that decision is and whether it is actually optimal. That's the sort of game changer, if you like, with Gurobi.
Gurobi is used very heavily in oil and gas, routing ships, understanding how many rail cars you need in the refinery, having blending models to figure out, in a blending tank farm, what should I blend together to make the most money. Those are all really classic problems that Gurobi can solve for you.
Gurobi has a long history in the power sector. The unit commitment problem was considered unsolvable. That piece of it, which determines who operates on a day-to-day basis, hourly basis, and delivers power to the grid, has been solved by Gurobi and mixed integer programming solvers. And the grid, which is the most complicated machine ever built by mankind, has only gotten more complicated. Solving that kind of thing requires a powerful solver like Gurobi.
So decarbonization is the biggest question and the biggest challenge that we are facing. Optimization is always about efficiency and eliminating waste. It's increasing the speed of a decision. It's increasing the quality of a decision. And I believe this is a path that is at the core with our purpose. We want to make this planet a better place, one optimal decision at a time.
Okay. So those were some great examples about the power of optimization. And these are a few examples that I'm about to show in terms of some of the examples that are really near and dear to our heart. Right? So Gurobi is being used to reduce world hunger. Gurobi is being used to sustain forests, okay, to improve health outcomes, to reduce pollution, to make infrastructure more stable, to make pensioners or retirees, as we call them in the States, more financially secure, and ultimately to create happier customers. And these are the examples that are near and dear to our heart because they impact every single person, right, regardless of whatever industry you're in. Okay? Our customers are doing amazing work. You're all doing amazing work, as I said when I stepped on the stage, and we're really proud that we can help to enable your efforts. Those are just some examples of how customers are using optimization and basically to help improve the quality of life. Now, this is what really excites us. And as I mentioned, going back to our purpose, this is what really motivates us and really drives us. And as you can imagine, developing the world's best solver is a very daunting task, right? It's no small feat. So how do we maintain and continue to increase this level of excellence? Well, basically it's having a singular focus, right? So imagine that those mirrors are focused on that solar concentrator tower, right? Our employees are like those mirrors, right? And the concentrator tower basically represents the Gurobi optimizer, okay? All of our intellectual capital is focused on building a better and more expansive optimizer, right? It's building the best solver in the world, marketing the best solver in the world, selling the best solver in the world, and supporting the best solver in the world. So having that specialization and that singular focus is hugely beneficial to what we're doing. So here's the question for everyone, right? What fuels all of this, right? What powers everything that we do? What is the foundation of the bedrock that makes this happen?
The employees of this company are so dedicated. They're so good at what they do. They're the fabric of this business. They're what makes this business come to life. And I've never worked at a company that's more energized, with a more powerful culture, and with better people. The values definitely influence our culture. They're the guiding light for the way we behave. It's, staying on the cutting edge of technology. It is pushing ourselves for high growth. And those values, I think, instruct the way we behave on that journey.
I think aligning kind of the corporate values versus personal values is important. It's one of the reasons why I joined Gurobi, right? You've got words around integrity and power of the team. So when I look at our culture now, I find it very exciting when we introduce new concepts like Gurobi 2.0 and things like that. The business is growing, the culture is growing, people are happy, and you're making sure that you're doing it simultaneously.
Gurobi is a company that does some of the most important work that you can ever think of.
When you see running the software, and you see the situation, and you see the results, you cannot believe it.
For a really small company, we have great tools. They are willing to put the investment into giving us the tools to be successful.
It doesn't matter who you speak to. The primary focus is to have extraordinary service at every level of the company.
The fact that someone who has never touched this stuff can teach themselves and we can kind of help support them to that is pretty impressive.
The entire ethos of the company is how customer focused we are. It isn't just one thing here that we can call upon. There's so many. Whether you ask any member of the team, the entire team is 100% dedicated to meeting the needs of the end customer.
We have so many customers that Gurobi is part of the heart of their business. The most important thing is the knowledge that they gain through coming to us and working with us.
In general, my experience varies from each day, and that's what makes it really fun working at Gurobi as well, because people are different within every team. Some are really high energy, some are more considered and process driven, and it's fun to be able to flex all those skills between the teams.
I enjoy the people here. I enjoy the mix of things I do, because at the beginning of the day, I never know what I'm gonna get. It's like a different problem or question every day.
I would say if you have a genuine passion and desire to constantly learn, for sure consider applying for Gurobi.
I'll tell you, what kind of a career do you want? If you want to come somewhere and sit down and just tick a box, clock in, clock out, it probably isn't the right environment for you. If you want to come somewhere and make a genuine difference, and I'm not just saying that, it generally is an opportunity to make a difference, because you have an active role, irrespective of where you are in the company, you have an active role in the direction that the company goes. And I think that's amazing. I've come from a larger company, and there is nothing like the charm of a smaller company where your contribution has a direct impact.
You're gonna be working with not only the smartest people, but also the most dedicated people. And together, this team definitely unlocks a lot of power. And that's what you see in the market today for the Gurobi force.
Okay, so it's our team members that make the difference, right? In all my years, I've never worked with a more talented or focused group of people. So one of the things you've seen from that video is the smiling faces, right? And basically, because once again, we all have a singular focus, but also a singular motivation, right, to make the world a better place. This is a photo from our May company offsite in Montreal. I think we're about maybe 160, 65 people then, but at the end of the year, we should be 180, right? And we're expecting more expansion next year. So we're growing quite well. Well, so the story that I've been telling, the story continues, right? So we came up with this wonderful purpose of how to make the world a better place. So what's the next step, right? What do you do then? How do we put some wood behind the arrow? Well, as you heard earlier, we challenged ourselves and we came up with an initiative called Gurobi Gives Back. How many of you have heard about this initiative? Okay, all right. Well, basically, Gurobi Gives Back was the idea to expand and enable tangible progress toward our purpose, right? We believe that if we were serious about making the world a better place, then we had to focus on the issue, we had to be proactive, and we had to take action on that issue. So we created this program. The idea was to provide NGOs, nonprofits, and charitable organizations free licenses and free consulting. And so in 2024, this year, we launched Gurobi Gives Back. Okay? Our cross-functional team that focuses on this project puts each request through a rigorous vetting process and qualification process. And from what we've heard, typically, from what the organizations tell us, that they're looking to replace less than effective open source solvers and gain some help with model consulting. Now, in addition to the great work that our customers are doing, this also aligns to the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. Okay. Now, here's a list of the companies that are part of the program that we partner with. And as you can see from the list, there is a diversity of programs, all laudable in their efforts and in their goals and in their efforts to make the world a better place. I'm excited that later this morning we have Analytics for a Better World speaking, talking about some of the great work that they're doing. Okay? Now, the program, since we launched it, has garnered a huge amount of interest. It's been very exciting, but it really challenges our team to be able to process all of the applications and so forth. So it's a good problem to have. Aligning with our purpose and goal, since I've been talking a lot about the purpose and goal, is another program we launched this year, our free online course hosted on Udemy. Raise of hands, anybody heard about this program? Okay. Great. Well, we partnered with Dr. Joe Sokol from the Georgia Tech, and to build this 4-part online course on the Udemy platform. It's basically optimization, intro to optimization through the lens of data science. And within the first few months, we garnered about 7,000 enrollments across 125 countries. And the ratings are quite high for this program. So this is another way that we're trying to get optimization out there to help build that awareness, as I mentioned earlier, that goal of accessibility, right? In addition to this program, we also have other programs that you're probably aware of where we try to push forward that goal as well, right? Our academic programs works with universities, provides free licenses to students and faculty, and also we have a vast program on the marketing side of OR and data science awareness working with our technical teams. So we do many webinars, podcasts, as I mentioned earlier, events, right? 100 events this year to really get out there. And these are both commercial types of events as well as academic events, right? So we also created the burrito game. Show of hands, anybody? Okay, so you know that's a very fun and interactive tool to basically learn more about optimization. And in fact, it's being adopted and used in a lot of university programs and courses. All right, in addition, we're exploring generative AI. I won't go into too much detail because we do have some sessions on this, but it's another method that we can help to lower those barriers and create more efficiency and accessibility. So we've recently launched something called Gurobi, and Gurobi is basically a chatbot, right? Powered by ChatGPT, where you can ask questions and to some basic questions and you get some reasonable answers. But we have a session on that coming up. I think Ed's going to talk about that later this morning. And then the other area of generative AI that we're looking at is exploring how generative AI can help you build models. So once again, this aligns to that purpose and goal. And we have some customers out there that have found success in this, but we also have a session on that. I believe it's tomorrow. I think Ms. Mittenberg is going to be giving a session on that, so please stay tuned, and I think you'll find that interesting. And of course, lastly, Gurobi 12.0. I know that many of you are eagerly waiting to hear some of these, so I'm not going to even try to talk about it. I'll leave it to the technical teams. Otherwise, that would be suboptimal of me trying to talk about that. But you'll hear about this over the next few days. Okay, so once again, this is that continuous improvement cycle that we go through every year with every new release. All right, so on that note, I think I've hit my time limit. And before I leave the stage, I just wanted to thank all of the speakers that are here today. I know a lot of time goes into creating these sessions and really thinking about it and making it valuable for you. So big thank you to all the speakers. And I also wanted to thank all of our sponsors for this event and our partners in general. We really appreciate everything that you do to support Gurobi. And I would encourage all of you to please take the opportunity to chat with some of our partners and learn about the great things that they're doing as well. Okay? And then once again, I'd like to thank all of you for once again making that decision to join us these next few days. I hope you have the opportunity to ideate, network, and collaborate with your colleagues. And certainly please reach out and connect with the Gurobi team. And most important, have some fun. Okay? Enjoy the summit, and thank you for your time.